Hi, I'm Gord. I'm the designer of board games like Santorini and puzzles like you'll find in this video series. Today, we're going to look at a rubric to assess the quality of math puzzles. This is something that I should have done years ago, but this is the first time I've done it. So I'm going to introduce you to a 5-point rubric. Here goes. The first question we're going to ask is the puzzle beautiful or is it ugly as heck? And that's important because about 20% of your kids in elementary school will be attracted and get engaged in a puzzle just because it's beautiful. Here are some beautiful examples of puzzles. These just draw you in. You want to know what's going on here. That's a very natural response. I'm not going to rate puzzles beautiful just because they are done up like this one. Even though this is one of my beautiful puzzles for junior high, I'm not going to give it a star for beauty just because I use beautiful colors. No, the essence of the puzzle has to be beautiful. Next, of course, is it curricular? Is it not curricular? So this puzzle here, this puzzle deals with difference. So all red lines differ by 7, all yellow lines differ by 5, all blue lines differ by 3. You just look at the two connecting circles. So the question is this curricular? Well, if you're dealing with grade 3, yes. If you're dealing with grade 6, no. Surprisingly, this puzzle becomes curricular again in about grade 8 because there's beautiful algebra that can be done with this same puzzle. So quite often these puzzles go in and out of getting a star for this part of the rubric. Next, is it made by an expert or can students make it? Having students be able to create their own puzzles is better than only having an expert make them. Kids can take pride and joy into creating something by themselves. So for example, this is a puzzle Mimitsu that I created about 10 years ago. And it's beautiful for kids to come up with their own puzzles. I'm not going to show you how to do it here, but they can come up with their own puzzles. They can rip this puzzle sheet in two. The solution is on the left. Then they can hand the puzzle on the right to one of their enemies in the class, and they can try to solve it. Next, hard to extend versus easy to extend. This is absolutely critical for classroom management. You as a teacher don't want to be stressed out coming up with extensions for a puzzle. So you have the top kids in your class saying, I've done. Okay, what do you do with them? You need to shut them up really quickly. So you either have to, in one sentence, you need to communicate to them another puzzle that they can do, or you need to hand them a puzzle sheet. That's the only way you're going to get a star for this part of the rubric. Easy to extend. So, for example, this is Mondrian art puzzles. I'm not going to explain how this works, but with Mondrian art puzzles, kids have solved the 4x4. You just say, do the 5x5. Try a 5x5. So they do a 5x5. You have a kid struggling in the class. And instead of, they're used to getting a lesser puzzle to solve than their peers, but instead you say, oh, why don't you be the first person in the class to try the 6x6? Okay, so there's clever little pedagogic tricks that you can use if you have at your disposal an easy problem to extend. So you can extend it with this group of kids, you can extend it in one way. With this group of kids, you can extend it another way with just a single sentence. This is a different way to extend a puzzle. Here you have a whole bunch of puzzle sheets. You have them in your arms as you're walking around or on your desk. And so if some students solve the cherries, here's a solution. Again, I'm not going to explain what this puzzle is. This is called Kajitsu. But if they solve this puzzle, you just say, okay, big deal. Just here's another one. Try to solve the pear. Okay, that's going to be a lot harder. Trust me. So these are this is a totally different way to very easily extend a puzzle. The clincher here is that we do not want to be explaining a new rule set, walking around and saying, okay, Johnny and Sarah, you've solved that one. Here is a new puzzle. Here, I'm going to have to explain it to you for 2 minutes. Or here, read some rules. Well, kids aren't going to do that. So you need to find a way to find puzzles that are really easy for you to extend just on the spur of the moment. So that's definitely worth a star in our rubric. Lastly, is this a repetitive algorithm or is this creative problem solving? Now, I'm not going to say that there is no room for repetitive applications of an algorithm, but that is certainly not the focus of math class. The focus of math class is hard problem solving for all kids. And the problem has to be hard. That doesn't mean that there can't be vignettes of success. So here's a repetitive algorithm that, okay, I'm not opposed to this, but it's not where I want to spend my focus. So I will never be giving you this, okay? Here we just are practicing multiplication, and you can multiply going around the circle here. Okay, this, on the other hand, this looks intriguing, and it's creative problem solving. This is only dealing with addition. So very, very low floor, high ceiling, however. I've presented this problem to mathematicians, and they did not do better than this grade 5 group of 3 boys who beat mathematicians working for 2 hours, mathematicians and educators and myself. Let me throw myself in there as well. Yeah, we worked on this for 2 hours, this puzzle. Again, I'm not going to explain the rules. This puzzle is called Glue. But sure enough, a group of grade 5 boys got up to 29. And the best that we did was a score of 26 after 2 hours. So impressive. So this shows that even though this is curricular for grade 2 students learning addition, grade 1 students learning addition, even grade 5 students can get something out of this. It's deep enough for grade 5 students. It's deep enough for mathematicians. This is a great and beautiful problem. So I'm going to then leave you with that rubric. I'm going to be applying that rubric for the rest of this year. And I think maybe I might amend it in the future, but I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to be applying this to every single puzzle that I produce from now on. I thought it would be useful to give you an example of a puzzle that scores exceedingly highly. These puzzles are not easy to come up with, and by no means do I give myself 5 stars on all the puzzles that I create. Definitely not. This puzzle that I'm going to show you guys is from 1967. It's not one of my puzzles. This is called the graceful tree conjecture. It's an unsolved problem of mathematics, but there's such beautiful little vignettes that kids can solve, so they can actually solve this. Yeah, they might not be able to solve the whole conjecture, but they can solve the emu. They can teach the emu, they can jump on the back of the emu and give it a ride if they can find a way to sort odd consecutive integers starting with 1, if they can put those into the circles so that connected circles, the difference between those connected circles, they're all different. So have we succeeded here? Looks pretty good, looks pretty good. But no, we've got 9 minus 3 is 6. We've got 7 minus 1 is 6. So they're not all different. So this is an example of a failure. Is it possible to find a way to ride this emu? Yes, there is. We can just swap the 1 and 3 there. And here we do have a beautiful solution. And we can look at all of these. You can imagine having a handful of these, and kids, you keep those secret. You do not show kids those at the beginning of the class. You keep those secret because kids want to solve one of these puzzles so that they get access to the next to one of the next ones. So you can say, well, okay, would you like a bird, or would you like a canine? So, or would you like a dinosaur? So you can give them some choice, but you keep the beauty hidden. Is it beautiful? Of course it is. Graceful tree conjecture. Now, I actually call this animal subtraction on Math Pickle. Mathematicians don't use animals to describe this puzzle. So animal subtraction, is it beautiful? Yes, it is. Is it curricular for grade 2 students, grade 3 students learning subtraction? Absolutely. For students all over the world. There is no excuse for this not to be in their experience of learning mathematics sometime in their education. Curricular. Made by students. Well, right now, the only things I've shown you so far, I've made them. I've made these puzzles. Could students come up with their own puzzles? Absolutely. You as a teacher should say, choose any animal that you want, but you are the one that decides the number of circles, because these puzzles get difficult really fast. Now, I'm not going to explain the rules to how to make these puzzles. That's again on MathPickle. You can go there and look at it. These are called animal subtraction puzzles. I'm not going to describe how to make them, but students absolutely can make them. So this gets a star. Is it easy to extend? Absolutely. You have those bundle of sheets and they're ready to go. And lastly, is it creative problem solving, or is it a repetitive algorithm? Well, it's definitely not a repetitive algorithm. This is an unsolved problem since 1967, how to solve these animals in general. Yeah, the kids can solve this animal, but can all animals be solved? That's unsolved. So absolutely creative problem solving. That's where I'm going to leave you with these nasty looking bugs and seahorses.